Was the Tower of Babel a ziggurat? The question of whether the Tower of Babel was a ziggurat is both fascinating and complex. To explore this, we first need to understand what ziggurats were and their significance in ancient history. Ziggurats were massive step structures built in ancient Mesopotamia, primarily as temples dedicated to the gods. These structures served as religious centers, symbolizing the connection between the heavens and the earth. Built from mud brick and sometimes adorned with colorful tiles, ziggurats often stood at the heart of cities such as Babylon, Ur, and Eridu. They were architectural marvels of their time, towering above the flat Mesopotamian landscape. These structures weren't just impressive architectural feats, they held deep spiritual and cultural importance. Ziggurats were often associated with local patron deities and served as a focal point for rituals, offerings, and festivals. Their height and grandeur symbolized humanity's reverence for the gods and their aspirations to bridge the gap between the mortal life and the divine. When it comes to the Tower of Babel, its existence remains a matter of speculation. The biblical account in Genesis describes it as a massive tower built by humanity to reach the heavens, an act of defiance against God that ultimately led to the confusion of languages and the scattering of people across the earth. However, there is no archaeological evidence to confirm that the Tower of Babel ever existed as described in the Bible. Scholars often debate whether this story is meant to be historical or symbolic, representing themes of human ambition and divine intervention. If the Tower of Babel did exist, it might very well have been a ziggurat. In the ancient world, ziggurats were among the tallest and most prominent structures, making them likely candidates for any monumental tower mentioned in historical or mythological accounts. The ziggurat of Etemenanki, located in Babylon and dedicated to the god Marduk, is often cited as a potential inspiration for the Tower of Babel narrative. This grand ziggurat was said to have been a seven-tiered structure, possibly reaching heights that were higher than most man-made structures of its time. However, it is worth noting that the ziggurat of Etemenanki was built in the 7th and 6th centuries BC, nearly 2,000 years after the time biblical experts estimate the Tower of Babel would have been constructed. So this ziggurat was at most an inspiration and probably not the Tower of Babel described as in the Bible. Nonetheless, the concept of a massive, awe-inspiring tower reaching toward the heavens fits the description of a ziggurat well. In a region where flat plains dominated the landscape, these towering structures would have been visible from miles away, inspiring both wonder and reverence. They were, in essence, the skyscrapers of their time, symbolizing the pinnacle of human ingenuity and ambition. In conclusion, while we cannot say for certain whether the Tower of Babel was a ziggurat or if it existed at all, the similarities between the biblical account and the towering ziggurats of Mesopotamia make it a plausible connection. These ancient structures, with their impressive heights and cultural significance, could easily have been perceived as towers reaching toward the heavens, much like the legendary Tower of Babel. If you enjoyed this exploration of ancient history, consider subscribing to my channel. Your support helps me continue creating content and reaching more people who share an interest in these fascinating topics. Thank you for watching.